We're going to get to Eric in just a second, but what we've been talking about is Logan Webb, who gives up 5 runs in the first inning yesterday, pitches great innings 2 through 7, but still the 5-run first. And then in the face of some criticism on Twitter specifically, he took to Twitter to defend himself, tweeting and responding to multiple tweets about him. And Dibs and I here discussing what that might mean for how he's feeling, not just about what happened yesterday, but about this entire season and about his career as a San Francisco Giant. And I think we could make a case, Dibs, that one of the best things the Giants could do is consider trading Logan Webb, because you could get a haul back for him. He's not young, but he's not old. He hasn't turned 30 yet. He has 2 years, very manageable money left on his contract, like $23-24 million per year the next 2 years. And he's still a very, very good pitcher. Hardly gave up a run and pitched nearly every inning possible in the month of June on his way to winning the National League Pitcher of the Month award. But it's not just what the Giants might consider doing. It's what Logan Webb might want. And I'm at a point where maybe it's been long enough, Dibs, for Logan Webb, where he's put up with lack of run support, lack of overall team success, now feeling maybe like he's being cornered a bit by the fan base. I don't know if that's truly the way that the fan base feels about him, which is why I want to hear from all of you guys at 888-957-9570. But if I'm Logan Webb, Dibs, I feel like I might want to get out of here. Like, it has been not a disaster for his entire tenure, that would be putting it strongly, but it has been hardly a success, not even close to a success, in fact, because you haven't made the playoffs in all but 1 year of his career, and he has been a Cy Young caliber pitcher almost every single one of those years. If I'm Logan Webb and I believe in myself to that ability, I want to show it, and I want to get to October, and it doesn't feel like that's going to be something that's likely happens here, at least for the next year or two.
Well, if you want to look at, like, what are they doing, and by they, I mean the organization, what is your plan? Like, which direction are we going? And right now it feels like you've got most of your eyes on your farm, which is getting better. And I was looking at the Keith Law rankings, and the Giants are now up toward the middle of the pack in the farm. And they've got 2 first-round picks coming up. And so you would hope if they...
overall.
And number 28 as well. Yep. So you hit on both of those, and you get a couple of more younger players. Maybe one's more ready-made as a college grad or whatnot. But you do feel like the farm is getting better. So if you're Logan and you look at your team right now and you think, okay, Robbie Ray probably gone, and if I'm here, who's going to be my number 2 pitcher on the team? Because Hauser and Malley, or Holly or Mauser, I can't remember what I called him, but they're the same guy. And Landon Roop.
You called him Housey, I think.
Something like that. Whatever. Landon Roop, sure. And like your various Carsons. These guys are all like maybes. And so if you're Logan and you look at this team next year and you think, how do we go about winning with this team? And I mean, we don't even know who's going to be gone at the deadline. It might be Jung Hoo. It could be Chapman. It
could be Ramos.
I don't think it'll be Adames or Devers, but Ramos, Jung Hoo Lee, like Casey Schmidt's a long shot, but you might
Arise and Ray are the likeliest ones.
Right. So no matter what that is, like you're going into next year thinking, okay, is Barracoto and Gilbert, are they my guys now? And like Haas and Susak. And so if Logan took an honest look at this team for 2027, you could see that they're probably not going to be much better than they are now.
Yeah. 888-957-9570. Do you think that's how Logan Webb might be feeling? And Giants fans, how would you feel if Logan Webb isn't a Giant in the future? And I mean in the near future, maybe as early as a month from now, maybe it's a year from now. How would you feel about that? What is your emotional connection to Logan Webb? This is not Logan Webb went at fans yesterday, so ship him out of here. This is just looking at this, I think, logically, from what the perspective is from the Giants and also maybe what Logan Webb thinks. 888-957-9570. Eric in Walnut Creek is up first. What's up, Eric? You're on Willard and Dibs. It's Dibs and Grandi today. What do you got?
You know, I'm such a Logan Webb fan, and I would say, I don't know what's in his head, but let's do what's right for him. I want to see him in the playoffs. I want to see him make a playoff run. I want to see him potentially pitch in the World Series. That's not going to happen with this team. You know, we're in for probably next year, another year of diarrhea before we figure out that, okay, it's a complete tear down, burn it down, rebuild, maybe different management. Maybe Vitello's gone. So Logan Webb is seeing this. He's going like, this team may not be competitive for 4 years, and I'll be at the end of my career. Help, please get me out of here. Guys, do the right thing for me. And I think that's kind of where we are with this. And you're right. We can get a haul for him. I hope we don't get rid of Jung Hoo as he's just kind of finally like turning out and looking pretty good. And Arise and him are such good bats, and we would kind of need that moving forward. I understand getting rid of Arise and maybe signing him next year, but for Logan Webb, do the right thing. He doesn't have forever, and I would like to see him on another team just because it's the right thing to do. He's a workhorse. He's a treasure, and he's earned that. Yeah,
Eric, I appreciate the call. I mean, that's a straightforward, logical enough take. I mean, and Eric is even talking about it not necessarily from the Giants' perspective, but from the or not what's best for the Giants' perspective, but just let's do right by our guy, the guy that's meant so much to us, and let's get him where he wants to go, where he has a chance to compete at the highest level and maybe, at least pitch into October, maybe deep into October, and maybe he gets a ring. That's not going to be the Giants' main motivation if this happens, and I don't think it's going to happen. And what we're talking about is potentially trading Logan Webb. But there's no doubt that I think what Eric is laying out, that is I'll put it this way, Dibs. If Logan Webb felt that way, the way that Eric is describing it, I would not be shocked if he felt that way. Right, and he's at a spot where, if you do want to trade Logan Webb, it would be a sell high, not at the absolute highest, but pretty high, because Logan Webb is still showing you that he is durable, and I think he led the league in innings pitched 3 straight years, and he's always amazing. Up there in the Cy Young, and this year he had the knee issue that cost him 3 or 4 starts, but he's durable, he's good, he throws ground balls, which means his pitching style actually travels. And so if you do want to put aside Logan Webb's feelings and doing right by Logan, which I think you do want to do that, but honestly, if you want to sell high, this would be the time to sell high on Logan. It's just the Giants haven't ever done this, right? And we could talk about if we think it's going to happen versus if we think it would be the smart thing, but you go back to Madison Bumgarner back in the day. That didn't happen. And Bumgarner had a different emotional connection, I think, with his fan base than Logan Webb does. Not necessarily because he was a better pitcher than Logan. You could make the argument that Logan Webb has been a better pitcher throughout their careers than Bumgarner. Of course, Bumgarner has the postseason success to lean back on and one of the best playoff performers of all time. But you look at some of the regular season numbers, you say, wow, Logan Webb's right there with a guy like Madison Bumgarner. But they didn't trade Madison Bumgarner when they could have recouped something for him, and instead they let him walk. And it wasn't a terrible decision. It was better than re-signing him to what the Diamondbacks signed him for, because he was terrible in Arizona. But they didn't take advantage of the signing of Carlos Rodon. They signed him for cheap for 1 year. He was amazing for you. You had the opportunity to trade him at the deadline. You did not. He signed big money in that offseason with the Yankees. Has had mixed success as a Yankee, been hurt. When he's been healthy, largely has been pretty good, but hasn't been healthy for the majority of his time there in New York either. You could even say the same thing for Kevin Gausman, although that was different because the year that Gausman was here, 2021, the team was great. So you're not going to trade Gausman away when you have a chance to win your division, which you ultimately did, winning 107 games. But the point holds there, he walked. He walked for free later on. So if Logan Webb feels this way, Dibs, and say you do nothing about it, there comes a point where maybe he says, I'm not signing an extension with you. I'm going to become a free agent in 2 years' time when I'm 31 going on 32 years old, and I'm going to start my career with somebody else at that point. And you lose him for nothing at that point. And what did you gain in the 2 years by keeping him around? As you're saying, it doesn't seem like there's a ton of momentum leading to the Giants being successful in that time. I mean, what you would gain is a lot more memories and Logan Webb, and he's a forever Giant and the whole thing, but I think about that 2017 season, and I mentioned this before the break, where that team went 64-98. And think about 2017. You were 3 years removed from the 3rd World Series, and you were 1 year removed from a playoff berth, 2016. And a decent run. They were close to beating the would-be champion Cubs. Right, but you look at that 2017 year, and you've got Posey and Belt, you got Panic and Crawford, you got Hunter Pence, and the pitching staff was, you still had Kane, and you had Bumgarner, you had Samardzija, and they all were... Cueto, right? And Johnny Cueto, and they all were patently bad. Like, everybody on that team, basically, except Buster Posey, who actually hit like 320 as I'm looking at it. Wow. Almost everybody had a bad year. But Buster and Crawford and Belt and Pence, you're not going to trade them. And Bumgarner and Kane, you're not going to trade them either because they already had that gravitas of being champs.
And it makes me think about this year where everybody on this team, none of them have that where like, oh, we can't trade Rafi Devers because he's won 2 World Series here. No, he's done nothing like Chapman and all the rest of them.
He's done more than Chapman.
Right. But even like if you think about like the achievements, though, is what I'm talking about. Like you couldn't really trade Hunter Pence, even though he that year had an OPS of 701 and he had 13 home runs and he was kind of nearing the end of his run. But he's Hunter Pence. He's from the frickin' Bay. Like those players, I think you had a harder time parting with because of what they've already done.
Yeah, for sure.
This team doesn't have that.
Not to that extent,
right.
But you rank this roster in terms of who's the guy that's earned the most with the fan base. Like Logan Webb is number 1, and it's not particularly close. It's just not at the level of Kane or Bumgarner or Pence on those past teams.
Right, but beyond that, and I'm glad you brought that up because Adames is new and Devers is new and Casey Schmidt's homegrown, and you'd hate to see him go because he's been awesome. Same thing with Elliot Ramos, and he's catching fire, and Jung Hoo Lee was kind of a great Farhan discovery, and so you do have some attachment to them, but nowhere near the attachment you had with these guys. Yeah,
and as you look at what Logan Webb might feel, that we got this text that came in from the 408, and you can join in at 888-957-9570. The 408 says, I understand why Logan got into the Twitter tirade, even if it wasn't wise, but the problem is Vitello was not ready to handle a struggling team in the Major League Baseball from a clubhouse and a pure baseball standpoint. This is kind of getting at what you said earlier, Dibs, and thank you to the 408 for the text. If you're Logan Webb looking at this situation and let's just say you're beginning to grow frustrated or grow tired by the way things have gone for you in San Francisco, you look at the leadership right now, you look at Vitello, you look at Posey and everything that's happened, you look at ownership, and you have to look at this honestly and say, what evidence do I have that suggests this is going to get turned around quickly? If I'm here, if I'm not here. If you're the Giants, you say, well, if we're going to be good next year, Logan Webb is going to have to be a big part of it. But if you're going to be good next year, it's going to take one hell of an offseason because you have no starting pitching staff. Whether you trade Robbie Ray or not, he's not going to be on your roster at start of the offseason because this is his last year under contract. Who knows what happens with the rise? You also don't have a bullpen. You hope that Randy Rodriguez comes back from Tommy John healthy, but is one arm going to make a gigantic difference in that pen? No, you need multiple arms in that pen. You need multiple starters. And then you factor in what the 408's talking about with Vitello. What evidence is there to suggest that this can be turned around quickly? Not much, right?
Not a lot of evidence, and I just can't help but fixate on the fact that you brought in a brand new, never been a pro manager, and you gave him Devers and Adames and Chapman and Webb and Robbie Ray. 5 guys who've been in the league, and they're all, either late 20s or early to mid 30s, and you're expecting Tony Vitello to come in here. And if they won and if things were great, fine. It's easy to go out there and just, be the manager and we're winning and I'm learning and all the rest of it. But we're 12 games above. Like, we're the second wild card right now. This is fun. But if they struggle and things pop off, like Chapman yelling at Casey Schmidt, catch the bleeping ball.
Way back second
Adames
series
not
of the year.
knowing how many outs there are, and Rafi Devers wagging a finger. And
Barracoto forgetting the count.
Logan Webb not thinking that maybe he should have gone out and not really understanding why. And there have been other instances, and now you're 16 games below 500, and you can't help but look at Tony V and think, not that it's his fault, but he's just another symptom of the overall problem.
And but Giants fans, 888-957-9570. How would you feel if Logan Webb isn't a Giant going forward in the future? How upset would you be upset? Like this from the 650 on our text line. Again, 888-957-9570. I never really felt him being Logan Webb as a true ace, in my opinion. I think they should trade him to restock. That sounds like a Giants fan from the 650 that isn't that wouldn't be terribly upset if Logan Webb was no longer a Giant. And the point is not because you're just getting rid of him for nothing, but you could get something in return for him. There's a chance, Dibs, that Logan Webb, if he's available on the trade market, would be the most sought-after piece in all of Major League Baseball. it's commonly assumed that the Detroit Tigers are going to trade Tarik Skubal because they do not want to give him the gigantic record-breaking contract that he will demand. And he's a free agent after this season. And they've been largely really bad this whole season. They have been playing a lot better of late, and they're up to only 4 games out of a playoff spot, the last wildcard spot in the AL. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They've won 4 games in a row. So maybe they're going to not trade Skubal. That would be a mistake in my mind. But if they don't, Dibs, Logan Webb immediately becomes the guy who potentially could be the best name available as a pitcher that is 29, one of the best pitchers in baseball over the last 5 years, 2 years of very friendly money, $23 million next year, $24 million next year. He could get you a haul in terms of prospects the Giants haven't gotten in return for a player in a really, they rarely sell. And if they do sell, they rarely sell their best pieces. This would get them a prospect haul that maybe they've never gotten before in their time at this ballpark.
Well, and hopefully it's a prospect who's ready next year to pitch and be a starter, and then a guy who's maybe ready in 2027, and then somebody further down the road. Because right now, if you look at their prospects, they've got a lot of blue chippers in 2028, 2029, maybe 2030, but what about next year?
Kind of a ways away.
Right, and you don't want to wave the white flag on next year, but at the same time, if you could get haul of prospects for 2 or 3 years down the road, I think that you'd be tempted by that. And you've got Robbie Ray and Luis Arraez, we mentioned, and Matt Chapman's been out there, and Jung Hoo Lee is percolated toward the top of trade target lists.
Jeff Passan brought that up earlier this week, which is weird. I mean, I don't expect the Giants to trade Logan Webb. We're talking about it. I don't think that's not like in their DNA. They haven't really ever done that, as we talked about earlier.
They haven't, but if you honestly take a big step back and you look at it, and I'm not saying that ownership is even doing this, but if you're Buster Posey and Zach Manassian and even Tony Vitello, and you look at what you have and what you've done, it's not good enough. So how do you get from where you are now to getting back the next year and being better? And it's a little bit like the Warriors, although the Giants have many more options, I think, in terms of, you trade this and get help for the future. The Warriors are in a little bit of a similar spot where, this is not good enough. How do we get from where we are to October and be better?
888-957-9570. Let's go to Carlito, who's in Alameda and wants to weigh in. What's up, Carlito?
Hello, guys. I don't know exactly what Logan Webb said, but I'll tell you guys this much. No one in the Giants is untouchable. The way this team has performed, it's been so bad. Logan Webb, I think he's a nice guy. That's all I can say about him, though. He's a good pitcher, not great, but I don't think anybody's expendable, and I think they should absolutely think about trading him. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate the call, Carlito. I can tell you some of the things that Logan Webb said. There's someone who works at the digital team for the other station tweeted out a video of him talking about the Giants' loss yesterday and Logan Webb's performance, particularly in the first inning, and talking about a lack of leadership and all that. Logan Webb responded and said, quote, what's sad is they allow people like you in the locker room. He went back and forth with a couple of other people. He called somebody who was talking who was replying to him. He said, honestly, you probably don't know anything about anything. Some loser on the couch that couldn't make his little league team. And then there's a couple other things about how he was an all-star with a 4-point-whatever ERA. And he was kind of going back and forth with that person. And then later we found out that he deactivated his account, or whatever the right phrase is. But that's some of the things that Logan Webb said. Clearly, whether it was a specific person's tweet, a specific person's opinion, if it was largely what his whole career has been, in this time with not against him, just what his experience has been as a Giant, something's touched a nerve for Logan Webb. In my mind, as I think yours did, immediately went to maybe he's thinking about beginning his next chapter of his career.
And I don't blame him for that. And we are sitting here now 3 weeks and 3 days away, I think, or 3 weeks.
The exact day?
It's the 3rd, I believe, of August. So it's Monday. And so the next Monday we have will be 3 weeks from that Monday. So,
6 Eastern, so 3 p.m. Pacific, Monday, August 3rd.
And we're getting down to that spot where, the Giants aren't going to be buyers and they're going to be sellers, but how much are you going to sell?
Yeah.
Because you can do, a little bit of sell, like Robbie Ray, Luis Ariz. Those are kind of obvious. I get it. You're going nowhere. They might get you something back. And then you get to the medium sell, which might be Matt Chapman, who's still Gold Glove caliber when healthy, and he might be a piece. And then you get to the top line sell where you would go ahead and trade Logan Webb. I don't know what their approach is going to be, but it's pretty clear to me that they know inside the clubhouse that this is going nowhere and that many of them or a few of them are going to be on the move.
Yeah,